All right, so here we go. Finintro. This is going to be a chapter 7. This is going to be a calculator practice problem. We're going to keep this very simple, and we're going to focus on the calculation of returns. Okay, so let's do two separate problems here. We're going to calculate the returns of a stock from year 2000 to 2001, and calculate the returns of a bond from the same period. So this is we're going to use the formula that we've discussed before. Final value minus initial value divided by initial value. But we're also going to pretend that we have a portfolio that has 60% stocks and 40% bonds. All right, so we have whatever it is, $1,000, $10 million, and 60% of our $10 million is in stocks, and 40% of our $10 million is in bonds. And you want to know what is the overall return of your entire portfolio from 2000 to 2001. All right, so let's do one at a time. First, we calculate our stock return. All right, so I'm going to create another chart over here that says stock return. I'm going to come up with some percentage. All right, there is 0 return in year 1, and in year 2, I'm going to calculate out 122 minus, because this is my final value, minus 107, which is my initial value, divided by 107. And that, in my trusty calculator over here on the side, is 122 minus 107 equals, divided by 107, equals 14.02%. Not a bad return for a good stock. Okay, now I'm going to use the bond. Let me change to green, and I'm going to calculate the bond return. Same thing. So I'm going to look at, I bought a bond in 2000 at $9.97, and I'm going to sell it at, and let's pretend this is a 0 coupon bond, okay? Because we don't want to 0 coupon, because we're not going to mess with that. We're just doing the returns. So I'm going to take the 1100 minus 997, and I'm going to divide that whole thing by 997. 1100 is my final value. The 997 is my initial value, and this gives me 1100 minus 997 equals, divided by 997, 10.33%. Okay, so now I have the return for the stock, and I have the return for the bond, but what I don't have is the combined percentages. But I know that my stocks are 60%, and I know that my bonds are 40%. So let's try to figure this out. My stock, pink, has a 14.02% return, which I can multiply by whatever, by 0.60. And I'm going to add to it, green, my 10.33% return, 10.33% return, and I'm going to multiply that by my 40%. What's important here is that you're basically taking an average, but this is a weighted average where the weight of the stock is 60% and the weight of the bond is 40%. What's important here is that these two guys add up to 100%. That's what's important here. As long as we can get that done, you should be okay. All right, so what does this turn into? 14.02 times 0.6 equals 8.4% plus, so that's this one, and then this guy should turn into 10.33 times 0.4, 4.1%, 4.1%, and if I add those up, that turns into 12.5%, which makes sense. 12.5 is somewhere between 10.3 and 14.0, and this is the return for the entire portfolio, which has 60% of my value in stocks and 40% of my value in bonds.